This is INCRadio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesia ni Cristo.
Made in Australia.
G'day mates. I'm Brother Morgan Goodfellow from the local congregation of Townsville, Ecclesiastical District of Queensland, coming to you live from the land down under the Great Southern Land, Australia. Today we continue our journey discovering and learning more about various careers in the land down under. Join us as we unravel what makes these careers exciting, rewarding, and of course inspiring.
Lovely. Hello, Kuya Morgan. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good day to everyone listening here on INCRadio Australia. My name is, of course, Sister Chloe De La Paz, all the way from the local congregation of Adelaide, District of Victoria, Australia. Hope everyone is doing well and everyone is continuing our hashtag challenge in the comment section, everyone. And yes, you heard it right from our very own Kuya Morgan. I am very excited and, of course, looking forward to our discussion today because we will be able to hear valuable and meaningful insights on what it is like to work in Australia's our different jobs here in the land down under. So make sure you send us your greetings and comments here in the live chat. And of course, we will be shouting you out, everyone. For this week, we are giving a challenge to our viewers. And of course, we're not going to be spoiling it right now. We will be giving it to you a little bit later. So make sure you join us for the entirety of our show, everyone. And of course, at the end of our show, we will pick the best winner, which we will be giving to a Made in Australia tote bag, which is very exciting, right, Kuya Morgan?
Absolutely, Sister Chloe. So join our discussion and leave a meaningful comment to be featured on our next episode. We'll be constantly checking where most of our viewers are from and our top commenters.
Yes, and before anything else, let's take a moment to appreciate and thank all of our amazing supporters who made tuning in to Made in Australia part of their routine. So here's a short thank you video for you, everyone.
So good to see so much support coming from all of our viewers and all the local congregations tuning in each and every week, toe to toe with the hashtag challenge. So keep your comments coming. So now sit back as we bring you our featured job for this week. Today's featured job is very unique. This job is involved in the maintenance and repair of electrical transmission and distribution systems that deliver power to homes, businesses, and industries. So any guesses into maybe what we might be discussing today? Let's watch our Discovering Down Under video.
G'day, welcome to Discovering Down Under, brought to you by Made in Australia. Join me as we add another job onto our list. Consistent electricity and power supply is very essential in our daily lives. I'm sure that most of us find it really difficult whenever power outages or issues in the supply of electricity happen. But have you ever wondered who gets to maintain and repair electrical transmission lines? Worry no more, as we get to talk about transmissions linesmen in today's episode. Research conducted by a private consulting firm shows that Australia needs an estimate of 10,000 kilometres of new transmission lines by 2050 in order to achieve our renewable energy ambitions. The demand for transmission linesmen in Australia is high and expected to increase significantly in the coming years. What are the tasks of transmission linesmen? Works on various structure types of transmission lines at high voltages, lifting, climbing poles, trenching for the installation of underground cable, or working in overhead buckets. Installing and repairing poles, cables, and electrical equipment related to overhead transmission systems. Working to ensure public safety and electrical crew safety. 5. Operating a variety of different equipment, including bucket trucks. 6. Completing electronic and paper reports and records. Definitely a very challenging job. Today we are very fortunate to be joined by a highly experienced transmission linesman in Australia. Meet Brother Arman Konanan.
My name is Brother Arman Konanan po. I'm a transmission linesman and I'm from local congregation of Manor Lake po.
As a transmissions linesman, Brother Arman often finds himself in a challenging role, climbing transmission towers either with the help of a helicopter or a bucket truck. They work in remote, mountainous, or forested areas to reach lines, making the job both rugged and essential. This job is definitely not for the faint of heart. Transmission linesmen like Brother Arman take on these difficult and risky tasks to ensure that we have a reliable and continuous supply of electricity. They are unsung heroes, often invisible but always essential. They make modern life possible.
Yeah, what did you think of that, Kuya Morgan?
Yeah, it's very interesting, sister. Definitely looking forward to jumping into today's discussion in regards to linesmen and the role they play in our community. A lot of safety procedures, a lot of working at heights, dealing with hazards, hazard conditions, and having to adapt to various weather and terrain conditions. So looking to see how they're able to overcome all of that while still performing their work duties, sister.
Yes, of course. And of course, that was Brother Arman Kunanan from the local congregation of Manor Lakes, newly established local congregation this year. And we would like to give a shout out to their resident minister, Brother RJ Haraza. Thank you always for your support. And while we're here, while we're giving out our shout outs, shout out to the South Australia region, because the support coming from you, everyone, is very, very loving and very supportive, very touching to see. And of course, we'd like to give a shout out to our ministers who are always so supportive. So hashtag, I keep tripping over my words. We'd like to give our shout outs to Brother Jojo Villapanya, the Assistant District Minister here in the District of Victoria, Australia, as well as our resident workers here in the local congregation of Adelaide, Brother Matthew Zisniewski, and of course in the local congregation of Port Adelaide, Brother MacArthur Deriada. Thank you always for your support, and shout out to my parents for always commenting. I know they're in the comment section now as well, and the Diolola family as well. Hello for everyone. While we're at it, Kuya Morgan, do you have any shout outs? Because I feel like we're
absolutely. So of course, we always have to represent our local congregation. So a big shout out to the local congregation of Townsville. Thank you for always supporting us. The Armamento family, Brother Randall, one of our head deacons here, the Solomon family, Sister Laurie Kate Solomon, Brother Loretto, Sister Lilibeth Solomon, Pascal family, Brother Joe, Brother Joseph, Sister Loti. Thank you for all your support always. But yeah, so many, sister, so many to always recognize, and we always are thankful for their support. But
yeah, and always so many in the live chat. I wonder who's going to be winning today's hashtag. What am I trying to say? Hashtag competition. Everything's like a brain fog, and my heart's working today. So
very exciting. So be sure to continue to send through your hashtags. Of course, we want to see all that support to come through, and you'll be in the running for those tote bags and the souvenirs that INCRadio is always offering.
Yes, exactly. And of course, our director of this episode, our very own Kuya Ason, would like to give a special shout out to Brother Marvin and Sister Ethel Adap, the local creation for Adelaide. Hello, pa. They're always in the comment section as well. Kuya Morgan, before we sort of dive in with our guest, Brother Armin, do you know what a transmission linesman is?
So I've seen them working around. I don't know exactly what they do, but again, it is a very dangerous job. If it is, as we saw on our discovering down under video. Yeah. So as far as I'm aware, a linesman is also known as a line worker or power line worker. They kind of work on the construction and maintenance of electrical transmissions and distribution systems that deliver power to homes and businesses and industries. Their work involves installing, repairing, and maintaining overhead and underground power line system, including all related equipment like transformers and poles. So those big, 5G networks, I guess you could see they're on top of the poles and whatnot. They do maintenance on those.
Yeah, and I feel like they're more like the plants are more around like rural areas. We don't really see them much in like metro areas. So they're always traveling around, especially to rural remote areas where it's basically the middle of nowhere. Recently I had a drive to Birken Hill, and the 6-hour drive was so dangerous as well.
Yeah, so you always see them getting called out, especially during like storm seasons. They respond to outages and damages to power lines caused by weather conditions and accidents, sister.
Yeah, and linesmen like that, as like from my experience of knowing some as well from here in the region, they tend to go away in remote and rural areas for a prolonged period of time. So for like days or weeks, just to make sure that everything's like crisp and tiny, and so it tidy. I keep like my words are not coming out right.
You got it.
Crisp and tidy. So very very interesting, and we are very very curious of what Brother Armin will be talking about in our discussion a little bit later. And of course, shout out to my darling Sister Jamie Ramoso for our Discovering Down Under video, and her efforts in always doing the Discovering Down Under voiceovers. So if you feel like the voice is very familiar, it's Sister Jamie Ramoso from the local congregation of Port Adelaide. So make sure you give her a shout out, everyone, in the comments section. But other than that, everyone, stay tuned because you are still listening to Made in Australia, brought to you by INCRadio Australia Satellite Studio, one of the official satellite studios of INCRadio. We'll be right back.
Made in Australia.
All right, so welcome back to Made in Australia, brought to you by INCRadio Australia Satellite Studio.
Yes, and get ready, mates. I feel like it's so unnatural for me to say mates.
It sounds like it comes straight off.
It's weird.
It sounds like an Aussie accent, sister. It sounds
really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get ready, mates, because it's time to be inspired by another gift of the gab. Kuyatek.
G'day, and welcome to Gift of the Gab, your moment of calm, clarity, and vocabulary. Today's word is mellifluous. Mellifluous means pleasant to hear, especially when describing a smooth, sweet, and flowing sound, like a beautiful singing voice or gentle music. Let's use it in a sentence. Her voice was so mellifluous, it felt like honey pouring into your ears. Even the word itself sounds as lovely as what it means. That's all for this week's Gift of the Gab. Allow language to sing to you. Until next time, take care.
That face looks familiar.
Very.
That outfit looks very familiar.
All right, so very interesting word again, sister. So it's almost poetic. Poetic.
Yeah, the kuya that did the Gift of the Gab, he was really cool. I think his voice was very mellifluous, if you ask me.
Mellifluous. I'll let him know, sister. I'll be sure to let him know. And in the comments section, be sure to let us know what you think of the word mellifluous and how you can use it in a sentence. If you have any special words that are very intriguing to hear as well, we'd lovely to hear from you as well. We'd also like to give a quick greeting, to some of our top commenters again from last week. Sister Lilibeth Solomon. So once again, sister from our local congregation of Townsville, thank you for your support. Brother William Manabet from the local congregation of Shepparton, and Brother Dante and Sis Ann Diolola, forgive me.
Yes. Lovely. You killed that, dear Lola.
Diolola from the local congregation of Port Adelaide. Thank you for your support.
Yes, they were our top commenters in the region. Yeah. Oh, big shout out to the local congregation of Shepparton. I watched the live episode a couple of weeks back with the local congregation of Shepparton, and they were so cute. They were so active, and it's very heartwarming to see. So, of course, everyone, this week our featured job is a transmission linesman. So, if you know what that is, make sure you give us a little bit of an explanation on the comment section because we don't really know what it is. Well, I don't. That's why I like being in this season of Made in Australia, Kuya Morgan.
Yeah, always something new to pick up. Always interested in seeing what jobs are out there in Australia. Even I myself, we see these tradesmen in their bright fluorescent uniforms doing various odd jobs here and there, but they all have a separate and individual job themselves, although they don't have obviously written on their shirt linesman or concreter or dairy farm or anything like that. It's always interesting to get an insight of what those fluorescents are. You might notice some tradesmen with bright orange or bright yellow, sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's always interesting to know exactly what some of those tradesmen are doing. And so for our discussion this week, linesman is also a very physical and demanding job, sister, in our viewers. So it's a job that requires physical strength and stamina, as well as the ability to climb and work in various positions.
Yeah, very interesting, Brother Morgan. So let's learn all together, everyone, because I have absolutely zero idea what transmission linesmen do.
So we're going to get a bit more of an in-depth understanding from our special
from
guest this week.
our brother Armin. So, what are transmission lines? These are the questions that we're going to be answering. What are the tasks of transmission linesmen? And of course, though Sister Jamie mentioned them in our Discovering Down Under video, let's also listen to Brother Armin Kunanan's input as well. Kiatek.
Transmission lines po, yun po yung high voltage ng mga tinatawag po sa Philippines yun, yung mga ambuklaw. Pero dito po sa ibang bansa, tinatawag po nilang transmission lines. Sometimes po, 132 kV, 400 kV, or 275 kV, 400 kV lines po. Parang nasa ano po siya, nasa field po siya. Parang high voltage transmission lines. Ang transmission lines po, nag-generate po siya ng power towards to substation. Dun po, ini-store niya yung energy. Tapos yun naman po, sa substation, yun po naman ang di-deliver ng electricity sa mga household. Kaya po, especially po, pag dumadami yung population, dun po, mas kailangan ng maraming energy para papunta sa mga residential. Mostly po climbing and then working at heights. So, working on ladder on top of the tower. Nagpapalit po kami ng insulators, nagka-clamping kami ng conductor, at sometimes maintenance po kami ng transmission lines para po like pag po may mga faulty, kami po ang nagme-maintenance ng transmission line.
Okay, so we have a few guides, kind of like to summarize for you, Brother Morgan.
Yes, please, sister, do translate.
I was going to ask, please translate for us.
Trying to decode without getting a nosebleed, but we'll see how we go.
So, according to my notes, what are transmission lines? So, transmission lines are high voltage, basically plants where high voltages of energy is stored. Got it? So like things like electricity, that's what they call like energy, because electricity is a form of energy. And they go from the ranges of like 132 kilovolts or kV to like 400 upwards of that. So if you
Wow.
imagine kilovolts, that's like 42,000 volts. Whereas, correct me if I'm wrong, but like our chargers, they can go up to like even high speed chargers are like 40 millivolts. So that's 10,000, about, I'm trying to think, 1 million times stronger than the electricity that we use to charge our phones.
Yes, it's very strong.
Yes.
So it's a very, very delicate situation that these linesmen put themselves in.
Yes, very much so. And the way that they transmit energy to our houses is that basically the plants, they generate electricity or energy to such high levels of voltages, and they will then be stored into what's called a substation. So it's basically the in between the energy plant and or the transmission line and our houses. And then from the substation, energy is stored and it is then delivered to our houses. And Brother Armin also mentioned that because we have an increased population here in Australia, especially with a lot of people moving in, the population is increasing. Of course, if the population is increasing, then we need more energy supplied into each house. So that means that they need to store more energy, or they need to build more plants that will store then more energy. And so that's why it's very important what they do, because nowadays, Kuya Morgan, we use electricity for basically everything. Literally everything that is running this episode needs some form of electricity.
Yeah, absolutely, sister. It's essential. So we're so thankful to have Brother Armin as our linesman here in Australia. So thank you, Brother Armin, for imparting with us the importance of transmission lines in our everyday lives. And we would like to also thank Sister Danica Amazona for doing this interview with Brother Armin.
Yes. How did I go with that translation, Kuya
I'm
Morgan?
pretty sure you got it, sister. I can't really say you didn't. I got a good understanding from you. So thank you, and thank you, Brother Armin.
Yeah. Oh, another thing, what are the tasks of transmission linesmen? Brother Armin was also mentioning they climb up very high ladders. So if you don't have a fear of heights, this would be a very good job for you. Unfortunately for me, I am terrified beyond belief of heights.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to have a bit of a backbone for this type of work, Sister Chloe. There are a lot of hazardous conditions. Line workers often face dangerous conditions, including the risk of electrical shocks, as you may be aware, falls, and exposure to obviously the weather elements being at such high climates.
100%. And of course, other tasks that they have, managing transmission, like making sure that it doesn't pose a risk, not only to themselves, but also to the houses that the energy is delivered to, and also changing insulators. So working back in like physics class, insulators will help move electricity around quicker. All of that. Everyone, let's go on to our next question, shall we? So I'm wondering, how did Brother Armin become a transmission linesman? And considering that in his line of work, he is exposed to safety hazards, what are the measures undertaken to ensure their safety at work? Let's listen in. Kuya Tech?
Nag-training po kami sa Philippines ng transmission linesman. Nag-start po kami 2005, and then na-hire po kami bilang transmission linesman. Dinala po kami sa UK. First po, kailangan po talaga ng PPE. Kailangan mo po ng safety harness kasi working at heights po lagi ang trabaho ng linesman. So, kailangan din po may proper knowledge ka, at the same time, yung safety mo at safety po nung kasama mo, kailangan pong laging iniisip yun. Tsaka meron po dapat kayong permit to climb, meron din po kayong yung rescue kit every time na aakyat kayo. At meron din po dapat kayong handheld radio for communication para kung ano man po ang kailangan sa baba, pwede po nilang ma-direct sa inyo kung ano pong situation sa baba.
I'll try to decode this one, decipher your Tagalog, brothers and sisters. So as far as I'm aware, Brother Armin had mentioned that he, from what I gathered, he needed his PPE, which is his personal protective equipment. They also need permits to work on job sites and whatnot. Obviously, having that personal protective equipment protects them from energized lines and whatnot. Also, having those permits and the understanding of your work site prevents Brother Armin from working at heights, especially when climbing poles, which also possesses quite a significant fall risk. So that's kind of what I gathered in that segment there, sister. Please let us all know what else our Brother Armin had to say.
Yeah, so we've also got like a live translator. Thanks, Ason. He started training in the Philippines in 2005 as a transmission linesman, and then basically they got hired from the Philippines, and they were first immigrated to the UK. So that's where they first worked at as a transmission linesman, and then they moved here in Australia. But yes, just like you said, Kuya Morgan, PPE, so personal protective equipment, things like gloves and like hard hat helmets is really important, like full body suits that are as much as possible electricity proof, and of course safety harnesses because they're working at high heights.
Absolutely, yes.
Yes. Permits to work, of course, and this also comes in with the training that Brother Armin had mentioned. So in order to be a transmission linesman, I assume that they would need to have like constant updated like safety protocols, so they need to be trained all the time. So because they're working in heights, so things like PPE and safety harnesses, they're not just there to protect yourself, but also to protect others. So because we're working with such high voltages of electricity, it's easy to be electrocuted if you're not careful. Other things, rescue kits, just in case of emergency, handheld radios for communication, not only from up in the plants, but also down, where like there are also people working from up or down, like down on the ground.
Absolutely, Sister Chloe. So that communication and coordination, clear communication and coordination, with crew members is an essential part for safe working practices.
Yeah, 100%. And, it's really important to stay safe, especially with such a dangerous job. But yes, it just goes to show that they have such an important job at sort of supplying things that we kind of take for granted, like electricity always comes so easily to us, right, Kuya Morgan?
Yeah, absolutely, sister. And just a bit of FYI, or for your information, a bit of extra information. When it comes to also using Brother Armin's tool, it needs to be double insulated, which are essentially using double insulated tools can help prevent, obviously, electrical shock. So there's a lot of extra precautions when it comes to this trade, by the looks of it, Sister Chloe.
Yes, very much so. So it's very important.
Absolutely. And so now probably everyone else is wondering, what are the skills needed to do well in this job? Obviously, you need a high degree of understanding of your personal protective equipment, your safety data sheets and the work site that you're on, and obviously the safety behind a transmission linesman. So let's talk to Brother Armin and ask him what are the challenges that are encountered at work and how he's able to overcome these. So let's play the video.
Kailangan yung dedication mo sa trabaho, laging alam mo yung ginagawa mo. Kailangan may knowledge ka rin po kung ano yung task na gagawin mo, para iwas accident sa mga kasama mo o sa iyo. Ang being transmission lines po, we working away from the family po. Siguro po dahil madalang po nilang nakakasama yung pamilya nila, minsan po wala pa po kaming signal, hindi po namin makausap ang aming mga pamilya. So, meron naman pong paraan din para maiwasan mo yung mga ganong pagkakataon. Tinatawagan ko po yung aking pamilya para makausap ko sila, kinukumusta ko sila. Yun po ang mahalaga doon. Yung pong lagi po yung may communication ka sa family mo para po magpapatibay din sa iyo yun at sa iyong pamilya. Ting po, because we are member of the Church of Christ, constant po kaming nananalangin, nabigyan kami ng lakas ng ating Diyos. Yun po ang good things being member of the Church of Christ. Meron po tayong Diyos na patuloy na tumutulong sa atin. Even though po malayo kami ma-assign, may mga group worship service naman po sa mga pinupuntahan namin. Even though po 2 hours drive, it doesn't matter po as long as makakasama po kami. Yun po ang importante sa atin yung patuloy na makapaglingkod sa ating Diyos at makasamba.
What Brother Armin kind of gave us an understanding to there in regards to the position in his job. He has a lot of challenges to overcome. One of them being being away from his family, and how being a member of the Church of Christ, he was able to use the ethic he's learnt from being a member of the Church of Christ, relying on our Almighty God and our Father in heaven to kind of help him through those situations. If I'm not mistaken, Sister Chloe.
Yes, you're right there. See, your Tagalog is improving, Kuya Morgan. I'm very proud of you. Very proud of you.
You can thank Brother Asen for that one.
Thank you, Kuya Ason. Thank you to our live translator. I mean, Kuya Ason. I mean, our live translator. But yeah, so he did mention the kind of skills needed to be a transmission linesman, and he mentioned the dedication to work and also the knowledge and the skills that you need to actually do the job. Getting the proper training, getting it constantly updated so that we can avoid accidents. And also the knowledge of the tasks that they need to do. So not just coming in blind to a day, so they kind of have a checklist of what they need to do. So just like you mentioned, Kuya Morgan, one of the challenges is that they're away from their families. So they go in days, weeks at a time to a rural place. And it has, Brother Armin has mentioned that it had caused some mental depression in some of his coworkers, which is very understandable and almost inevitable because they don't get to see their family very often. And then there are times where they also go to rural places where there's not a lot of signal, or it's always SOS on the phone. There's never 4G or 5G. So it's hard to communicate and keep in contact with the family. But Brother Armin has mentioned that, as much as possible, they call and check in on the families, on the wives and the kids, just to make sure that they're okay. And of course, as members of the Church of Christ, Brother Armin emphasized the importance of constant prayer, not only for taking care of the family, but also for the strength, because they must miss each other very, very much. So Brother Armin mentioned that, we have our Lord God who helps us, grants us the strength. And of course, he also mentioned that there are GWSs or group worship services in faraway distances whenever he travels. So the dedication that Brother Armin has, Kuya Morgan, is very inspiring, because he did mention there are some GWSs which are like 2 hours plus in distance, but that doesn't deter him from attending worship services, because for him, it's always been his priority that no matter how far worship service is, they always make it a point to attend, because serving God is always first thing in their lives.
Yeah, absolutely, sister. It's inspiring to see Brother Armin's faith and how he's able to have that positive attitude despite the situation he's in, and maintaining a positive outlook even when faced with challenges. Having that positive attitude can boost his morale and improve his overall work environment, not only for himself but his colleagues and whatnot. And looking forward to attending those group worship services, or GWSs, as Brother Armin had mentioned, gives him that positive outlook to being able to attend these worship services, receive the blessings and the grace from our Lord God, and then take it back to work with Him.
100%, and it also goes to show how much the church has grown. So the Church of Christ isn't just in the main cities. So, for example, like Adelaide or Melbourne or Townsville or like Brisbane or anything like that. The church is growing to a rate that is so inspiring to see, because even in rural, remote areas where it might be hours away from the nearest metro city, we have been able to build up GWS's group worship services and even local congregations, which is so inspiring because it shows that the church, we're adding in more brethren. The church is growing. So it's very, very inspiring to see. So yeah, the thing is with transmission linesmen, Kuya Morgan, I didn't know what they were. So I went on my favorite site on my favorite search engine, which is AI. And my prompt was, explain to me like I'm 5. What is a transmission linesman? It's my favorite way, because it just like simplifies everything.
Yeah, why make it complicated, if you can make it simple.
And like you were explaining what transmission linesmen do, and my brain was like, you're so smart, Kuya Morgan.
Oh no.
So,
I thought you were going
prompt.
to say that I was explaining it as if I was explaining to a 5-year-old.
No, like you were like an expert, and then there's me with a prompt saying,
nice
explain it to me like I'm 5.
It's absolutely. So it's just like, imagine you put yourself in those situations. We all have that same faith in the Church of Christ. We all experience those challenges, no matter what field we work in. We all have the same faith and the same God, the one true God, our Lord God in heaven, our Father, who is, always willing to help. No matter where you are, He's always there. He's omnipresent. He's always willing to help, sister.
Yes. Maybe that's the next word. I don't know if you've done omnipresent. Omnipresent is a good...
Again, I think it's something we've learned in our worship services.
Yeah.
Our Lord God is it the 3? Omnipresent, omnipotent, and omni... Let us know in the chats if you've heard that one in the
next week's gift of the gab, omnipresent. But yeah, so it's very inspiring, and of course we're so lucky that we have Brother Armin to have us educated on the roles and the experiences of a transmission linesman. So it's very inspiring. So what are the most striking points? Of course, it's that transmission linesmen are they have a very dangerous job, but they also have kind of an underrated, it's underappreciated, because we need electricity all the time.
Yeah, it's like we had now Discovering Down Under. They're kind of the unsung heroes.
Unsung heroes. That's it's in the brain, Kuya Morgan. We would like to greet our top commenters as well from last week, even more so. Sister Rodora Doctor from #Shepperton, Sister April Dai from #Kuji, and of course my mom, Sister Marty De La Paz from #Adelaide, and Brother Ramon Doctor #Shepperton.
Absolutely, sister, and a big shout out to all of our loyal supporters who continue to tune in. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Click that notification bell to stay up to date with all of INCRadio Made in Australia's updates.
Yes, and of course we have a little video, right, Kuya Morgan?
I do. We do, sister. So at this part of our program, since various ecclesiastical districts around the world are holding their CFO or Christian Family Organization Day, let us watch a video of all the CFO officers in Australia sharing with us their memorable CFO activities and their key learnings as CFO officers.
Hello po, my name is Brother Denver Kabansag from the local congregation of Wyndham, and I'm the District Binhi President in the Ecclesiastical District of Victoria, Australia. One of the most inspiring activities that I've been a part of as the District Binhi President was the District Binhi Movie Showcase. It was one of our last activities at the District of Australia West. Even though the Binhi brethren were online and were from different states, you could really feel the love of brotherhood and the love of the Binhi. It was a memorable experience because it was one of the last activities that we had as a District of Australia West. As a District Binhi President, I've had the fortunate opportunity of meeting different Binhi from different locales within our district. What I've learned from being the District President is that you don't necessarily have to give the brethren under your care anything materially. As long as your intentions are pure and you have genuine love and concern for the Binhi under your care, that's the best thing that you can give. Being that source of encouragement and sense of inspiration for the brethren under your care are one of the greatest things that you can give them.
Shout out to Brother Denver Kavansag from the local congregation of #Window. How was that, Kuya Morgan?
Yeah, inspirational, sister. So
Oh, it's so cute. And for those of you who don't know, the Binhi is the baptized members of the church who are aged 12 to 17 years old. So they're so young and they're like little babies, but their faith is so strong and they're so wise
yeah,
beyond their
absolutely. Yeah.
years. Yeah. Go on, Kuya Morgan.
No, so yeah, all the abbreviations for the church, so Binhi, Kariwa, and Booklet. It's always good to know these organizations and what they kind of stand for. So, Sister Chloe, if you could just get a bit of an understanding of what Binhi, Kariwa,
Of
and Booklet
course.
would be.
Yeah, so of course, so the Christian Family Organization, or the CFO, is comprised of the Buklods, which are the married members of the church, the Kadiwas, who are the single members of the church who are baptized over the age of 18, and the Binhi is the baptized members of the church between the ages of 12 and 17. And then we also have the CWS Children's Worship Service, who are the non-baptized youth members of the church. So, for example, here, Brother Denver is our district Binhi president, and he's, I think, 17. So he's so young, but he's so wise beyond his years. So proud of him. So shout out to you, Brother Denver. Shout out also to the district Binhi. Kuya Morgan, they work so hard. And I'm pretty sure they're over there in the District of Queensland as well. The district Binhi is doing so much. So they have a lot of activities lined up. So it's very inspiring to see because they're working hard. They are the future of the church. So
Absolutely, sister. I was about to say the Binhi, the youth members of the Church of Christ, they are the future of the Iglesia Ni Cristo.
yes. Now I think it's time. Before we go into the next segment, we would like to thank our CFO, our Christian Family Organization officers, especially Brother Denver, for sharing such inspiring insights. So again, very inspiring. So now it's time for everyone's favorite segment, Game Time.
It's game time. Let's play.
All right, so you're absolutely right, Sister Chloe. Everyone's favorite segment, Game Time. For this episode, our Game Time segment will be a little bit different. To our live chat audience, you just need to answer the question, and the best answer wins a Made in Australia tote bag.
There we go. What have you learned from participating / organizing various CFO or Christian Family Organization activities? Oh, so this is what we were talking about, Kuya Morgan, in the beginning of the show, wherein for a chance to win an Made in Australia tote bag or an INCRadio Australia tote bag, give us your best answers, everyone in the live chat. What, I just completely brain dead.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So again, what have you learned from participating and or organizing a Christian family organization activity? So you might have been able to attend maybe the CFO day, or is INC Giving a part of CFO activities, Sister Chloe? So your
Yes.
INC Giving is one of our other activities we hold. Whether it be joining in these activities or even organizing them, let us know your experience and what you've been able to kind of learn from those experiences.
Yes. So talk to me about your experiences with CFO activities, Kuya Morgan?
So most of the time, Sister Chloe, when it comes to CFO activities, our local congregation of Townsville here in the ecclesiastical district of Queensland in Australia, obviously, we tend to propagate a lot. So propagation is where we share our faith with our fellow men. It's a blessed opportunity to be able to approach those who aren't really don't have an understanding of who the Church of Christ are or what the Church of Christ is. And when we go out and kind of have our INC giving activities where we give blood or we give donations to our community, it gives us an opportunity to kind of explain to them who we are and what we do, and sort of what our faith is. And so it's an opportunity to invite them to our evangelical missions or our worship services and Bible studies. So personally, in my own experience, whenever we have these CFO activities or Christian family organization activities, it's just an opportunity to share our faith, which is it always happens, and it's always just one of the highlights of those activities, Sister.
Yes, and it's so fun to participate in those kinds of activities. So things like Pasuko distribution drive, so where we give out Pasukos or God's Message magazines. We have monthly issues of those. We also have pamphlets. My personal favorite are the ones that are Bible stories. You can download them on incmedia.org, but they have some pamphlets of like very popular, well-known Bible stories. So there's one on like Noah's Ark, Moses, the Red Sea. Those ones are very, very interesting. And we always do those propagation activities, so the Pasuko drives. For me, I am privileged enough to, ever since I was young, I've always been very involved in organizing CFO activities. So even from CEBSI Binhi Kadiwa, now I am so honored to be the acting Kadiwa president of the local congregation of Adelaide. So very busy, especially now in our time where there's just so many activities not only launched by the church administration, but also we have so many ideas in the district and in the locale. So it's so inspiring. So one of the upcoming approved activities that we have is actually an esports Unity Games this coming May
esports. That's
18.
games, isn't it?
So it's so much fun organizing because everyone's into esports, like all of the games on the different consoles. They're so everyone's really excited. When it comes to organizing activities, in my experience, they're very much it's very much both stressful and rewarding. It's stressful because you want to produce such high quality activities. But in saying that, you also have to think about so many different factors. For example, where's the venue going to be? How are we going to organize booking the venue? How is the program going to look? How can we tailor it to our local congregation so that they will enjoy it the most? Picking the correct games or picking the ones that they'll be most involved in. If it's a tournament style, which games are more appropriate to tournament styles? Like those kinds of factors.
And it's also, I've noticed with the Church of Christ, Sister Chloe, and to our viewers, the activities that the Church of Christ hold target a specific audience, whether it's Kariwa, Buklud, or the Binhi, as we had mentioned those organizations earlier. And it's interesting to see that maybe some of your hidden niches or your hidden, little hobbies or stuff that you may have thought, that you're brought up with as a kid, are kind of just, your own little personal endeavors or whatever. And eventually, it comes into fruition that you see the Church of Christ hold these specific activities, and you see that you're not just the only one. And it makes you feel all the more welcomed inside the Church of Christ.
100%.
So, yeah, it's always interesting to see something like that.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why it's so important to have those kinds of activities, Kuya Morgan, is that it's a way to make a community within the church. So, we talk about the love of the brotherhood all the time, but what I've learned in my experience organizing activities is that it's the most rewarding when you see everyone becoming a family. It's basically our home away from home. So especially now, we've had a big influx of, for example, students who are on student visa coming from the Philippines or coming from very different parts of the world, and they're by themselves. And it can get pretty lonely, it can get pretty sad sometimes, but it's through these activities that we not only get people like sort of socializing with their own groups, but we have these people who are in need of the company, to have the company that they're longing for, because they won't be able to spend a lot of time with their families. And so in order to combat that loneliness, you can sort of invite them, tell them, hey, like, look, we have an activity, let's go. And it's very, very, very inspiring.
Yeah, absolutely. And so for our viewers as well, and our fellow men who are watching, we actually have a Christian family organization activity happening this Monday, May the 5th, which we are holding, which is called, CFO Cares. So if you know any of the brethren, or you're interested in maybe attending some of our Christian family organization activities, feel free to let our brethren know, or you can research us on iglesianicristo.net. You can see, where we are and who we are and what we have to offer. So again, being a convert, Sister Chloe, into the Church of Christ, coming into the Church of Christ, firsthand and personally, I can personally say that all that the Church of Christ has to offer is a beautiful community, and just kind of an escape, I guess you could say, from maybe your day to day. You might not be feeling the best where you are currently, but the Church of Christ is always there to uplift you in ways you couldn't really imagine. And of course, you do feel the presence of the brotherhood, and most importantly, our Lord God and our Lord Jesus. So it's just a divine sort of time to be with brethren and other fellow men.
Yeah, I guess it's such it's so inspiring to hear your story, Kuya Morgan, because as someone who kind of grew up in the church, I love hearing people's stories, really like convert stories, because I think there are times when I feel like when I organize activities, it's sort of, it's always one on top of the other. I don't usually get to take breaks, but it's stories like yours, Brother Morgan, that I'm like, oh, we do make a difference. Like, there is a role that CFO activities have in order to inspire and edify the brethren, and to help invite those that are not yet members of the church. So it's so inspiring to see. But yes, everyone, hopefully you've enjoyed our discussion. Again, make sure you comment down below our question of the day, or our game time question. What have you learned from participating/organizing CFO activities? We will read through all of your comments, and then we will pick a winner that we will announce, and you will be able to have your own Made in Australia tote bag. So stay tuned, everyone. You're still listening to Made in Australia, brought to you by INCRadio Australia Satellite Studio, one of the official satellite studios of INCRadio. We'll be right back.
It doesn't take something big to show love. The right and thoughtful choices made with care can make a parent smile and turn an ordinary day into something special.
Dishes done, floors clean. A surprise mom and dad when they get here.
Wow! Hello, son.
Mom, you're early.
The house looks great.
Plus, I'm done with my assignments.
Oh, really? Oh. You always do your chores without being told. We see your effort, Carl, and we're proud of you. Here, we got you something.
What? How'd you know I want this? Thank you.
A child who brings joy to their parents is blessed even without asking. In the same way, when we live to please God, He gives us more than we could ever hope for.
A reminder from Made in Australia, brought to you by INCRadio Australia Satellite Studio. Made in Australia.
Welcome back to Made in Australia, brought to you by INCRadio Australia Satellite Studio, one of the official satellite studios of INCRadio. And that was a very productive discussion, don't you think, Kuya Morgan?
Absolutely, Sister Chloe. And unfortunately, it's already come to an end. These discussions can just go on and on. I love talking about the Church of Christ, their activities, how our faith intertwines with, our work life and just the way we carry out our day, Sister Chloe. So that will conclude our episode for today, brethren, and our fellow man all viewing. We do hope that we all learned and appreciated the work of transmission linesmen from Brother Amar today in their role in our communities. Definitely not an easy job at all, requiring so much courage, resilience, and flexibility. We hope we are all inspired by Brother Armin's story, specifically how his faith in God powered him through various challenges in life. We'll also try to stay connected with Brother Armin. Because again, he is out there doing the Lord's work. He is our unsung hero.
100%.
Remember to stay tuned because we will announce next week. So remember to tune in next week because we will announce the winner for our Made in Australia tote bag.
Yes, of course. And again, the question is, what have you learned from participating/organizing CFO activities? And most especially, we would like to express our gratitude and our love because we are so blessed to have Christian family organizations or CFOs allowing us to be part of activities that enable us to strengthen our faith. So, of course, we would like to thank our CFO Christian Family Organizations coordinator, Brother Angela Aranya V. Manala. And at this point, we would also like to greet you a very, very happy birthday. We love you so much, but thank you for always being the strongest helper to our church administration. And of course, we would like to extend our greetings to our beloved Executive Minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo. We love you so much, but thank you always for your support, Paka Eduardo. Okay, everyone, see you all next week. And to all our viewers, thank you always for tuning in. Stay safe, stay happy, everyone. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everything.
Bye, everything.